Hello, how are you? This is Tim coming to you from an undisclosed location. My internet goes off every day, so I don't know when I'm going to be able to upload this video, but I'm going to keep making the videos and then I might have to go to the library and upload them. We'll see. Stays at the Airbnb or an adventure. I should write a story about a series about having to live out of Airbnbs. Maybe that's it. Some of the adventures I've had. Uh, Let me see. Where am I? Okay. Robert Owen introduced silent monitors at his New York Lenox mills. Each worker had a piece of wood with its side painted black for bad work, blue for indifferent, yellow for good, and white for excellent. The side turned to the front provided a constant reminder, visible to all, of the quality of the previous day's work. Each department had a book of character recording the daily color for each worker. Discipline was not only a factory matter for Owen, also controlled the community. He sent round street patrols to report drunkenness and fine the drunks next morning. He insisted on cleanliness and established detailed rules for the cleaning of streets and houses. There was even a curfew that required everyone to be indoors after 10:30 p.m. in the winter. As E.P. Thompson has emphasized, disciplined work was regular, timed work. It meant turning up every day, starting on time, and taking breaks at a specific length at specific times. Employers had a long battle against the well established tradition of taking off, as additional Saints' Day, Saint Monday, and even Saint Tuesday, to recover from weekend drinking. Time became a battleground, with some unscrupulous employers putting clocks forward in the morning and back at night. There are stories of watches being taken off workers so that the employer's control of time could not be challenged. Significantly, timepiece ownership spread at the same time as the Industrial Revolution, and at the end of the 18th century, the government tried to tax the ownership of clocks and watches. Boy, I tell you, this is the system that we live under and that we support. It's amazing. Industrial capitalism not only created work, it also created leisure in the modern sense of the term. This might seem surprising, for the early cotton masters wanted to keep their machinery running as long as possible and forced their employees to work very long hours. However, by requiring continuous work during the work hours, a ruling out non work activity, employers had separated out leisure from work. Some did this quite explicitly by creating distinct holiday periods when factories were shut down, because it was better to do this than have work disrupted by the casual taking off of days. Leisure as a distant non work time, whether in the form of a holiday, weekend, or evening, was a result of the disciplined and bonded or bounded work time created by capitalist production. Workers then wanted more leisure, and leisure time was enlarged by union campaigns, which first started in the cotton industry, and eventually new laws were passed that limited the hours of work and gave workers holiday entitlements. Still no mention of the slaves that picking the cotton and growing the cotton. Leisure was also the creation of capitalism in another sense. Through the commercialization of leisure, this no longer meant participation in traditional sports and pastimes. Workers began to pay for leisure activities organized by capitalist enterprises. The new railway companies provided cheap excursion tickets, and Lancashire cotton workers could go to Blackpool for the day. In 1841, Thomas Cook organized his first tour, an excursion by rail from Lancaster and Loughborough for a temperance meeting. Mass travel to spectator sports, especially football and horse racing, where people could be charged for entry, was now possible. The importance of this can hardly be exaggerated, for whole new industries were emerging to exploit the development of leisure, or to develop leisure, to exploit and develop the leisure market, which was to become a huge source of consumer demand, employment, and profit. Capitalist production had transformed people's work and leisure lives. The investment of capital and the expectation of profit drove the Industrial Revolution, and rapid technical progress increased productivity by leaps and bounds. But machines could not work on their own, and it was wage labor that was central to the making of profit. The wage bill was the employer's main cost and became the focus of the conflict between the owners and capital. And as Marx put it, those who owned only their labor power, the capacity to make money through physical work, workers were concentrated in factories and mills, where they had to work in continuous and disciplined manner under the supervisor's watchful eye, but also now had an opportunity to organize themselves collectively in unions. Non work activities were expelled from work time into leisure time, and daily life was now sharply divided between work and leisure. Wage labor also meant, however, that workers had money to spend on their leisure life. The commercialization of leisure created new industries that fed back into the expansion of capitalist production. So, man, I guess we almost back at that time where they kind of control your time, don't they? In a way, I mean, if you do gig work, you kind of work on your own time, but then there are periods that are hot if you do like delivery and Grubhub and all of that, but you sign in when you want. But can you really control it if you have to sign in because you have to pay high rents instead of having housing as a right, and you only pay 30% of your income no matter how much you make? Then you'd actually be free to work as much and as little as you want. It's rough, man. It's rough. I don't know, man. Like Richard Wolff says, if capitalism was a friend or a neighbor or a roommate, you would kick him out a long time ago or something like that. He says, but yet this thing rules our whole life, and it's insane, and we support it. Until next time, um, try to stay safe. Try to stay sane.